Hello everyone, my name is Nadeem Khan. Welcome to Uncommon Literature. Today we are going to do Porphyria'S Lover by Robert Browning. Let us begin. The poem is a dramatic monologue as like other poems of Robert Browning. So this is also a dramatic monologue in which there is only one character who is talking to or delivering a speech to an invisible audience. So let us see what he says. So the narrator narrates the events of past, that the rain set early in tonight, the sullen wind was soon awake. The first stanza describes the climate outside, that it was cold and it was raining. So the rain set early in tonight. So tonight the rain started to occur early. And the sullen means ill-natured wind. So wind in this line has been personified when it says was soon awake. So the sullen wind was soon awake, meaning that today the wind also came early. Soon awake means the way we awake in the morning. So the wind was also awake early. It tore the elm tops down for spite and did its worst to vex the lake. So by this line, he means, the narrator says, that the wind tore the tops of elm trees. So the wind was so fast that it tore the tops of the trees for spite. Spite here means a sort of feeling to hurt others, and did its worst to vex the lake. And also the wind vexed the lake. Vex here means to disturb. I listened with heart fit to break. So by this he wants to say that I was listening the rain and the wind from outside with a heart fit to break. Fit to break means, this is a very important phrase in this poem. He has a heart which is fit to break, meaning that his heart can be easily broken by the lover. When glided in Porphyria, straight she shut the cold out and the storm. So basically the climate which we have seen in the first stanza symbolizes the inner conflict of the lover, the speaker himself, when he is alone in his cottage and in the absence of Porphyria, everything is seeming so gloomy and so sorrowful to him. But when Porphyria glides in straight, she shut the cold out and the storm. So however, she shut the door, and literally also she shut the cold wind and the rain outside, but it also symbolizes, it represents that how she kept the extreme weather outside, and later on and kneeled and made the cheerless grate blaze up and all the cottage warm. So as soon as we have Porphyria inside the cottage, she lights up the fire and the cottage is again warm. So it is literal as well, at the same time symbolic as well, symbolic of the inner conflict, inner feelings of the narrator. So when Porphyria comes and she lights the fire, the cottage becomes warm and the feelings inside the lover also becomes warm, instead of the cold feelings or cold emotions which we had in the first stanza. Which done, she rose and from her form withdrew the dripping cloak and shawl. So after making the fire lit, she stood up and then she started to undress her clothes which were wet by the rain. She first took down her coat and then shawl, and also she laid down her gloves and then her hat. Okay, so we will see all these things in these lines. So which done, she rose and from her form withdrew the dripping cloak, meaning coat and shawl, and laid her soiled gloves, soiled means wet, soiled gloves by, untied her head and let the damp hair fall. And when she took away the hat and she let the wet hair fall. And last, she sat down by my side, and after doing all these things, she sat besides the narrator and called me. So he is saying that she called me. We never know the reason why she was calling him. When no voice replied, but he did not reply anything to her, she put my arm about her waist. So she took his arm about her waist and made her smooth white shoulder bare and all her yellow hair displayed. So she is trying to seduce him, she is trying to come close to him, and she took his arm about her waist, and she also took out her shoulder from her cloth in order to take his head on her shoulder, and she displayed, like she removed her hair also from the shoulder. So she made her white shoulder bare, and stooping made my cheek like there. So uh, she is making his cheek lie on her shoulder and spread over all her yellow hair. And when he laid his cheek on her shoulder, she again spread her hair around his face, murmuring how she loved me, she too weak for all her heart's endure. So this stanza is the most important one. You notice, students, that here she confessed when she did not get any reply of her advances towards him. She confessed her love for him, but that seemed only murmuring, as murmuring to the narrator, because he thinks that she was too weak for all her heart's endeavor, because he is thinking that she was very weak in order to confess her love for him publicly, and she was not able to set her heart free from the struggle, which is represented by this line: to set its struggling passion free from pride and vainer ties dissever, and give herself to me forever. So by this stanza you must understand that they both are lovers, but the society is not able to accept their love, because the narrator here belongs to a poor class, while the girl is from a rich class or rich society. So that is why the society is not able to accept the love which they both have for each other, and that is why she has come here to meet him. And the narrator knows that she does not have much courage to confess her love for him publicly, and that is why he says, to set its struggling passion free from pride and vainer ties dissever. So she is not able to set her passion free from pride of the society and vainer ties. Vainer ties means the waste relations of people, and give herself to me, and that is why she is not able to give herself to him forever. Okay, so move to the next stanza now. But passion sometimes would prevail, nor could tonight's gay feast restrain. By this he wants to say that but sometimes passion prevails everything else. So that is why she has left a party. A gay feast means a happy party. So tonight she left a party, and she has suddenly come to meet him. Why? A sudden thought of one so pale for love of her, and all in vain. Because she suddenly had the thought of this narrator, thought of his feelings for her, and what he would be thinking about her sitting alone in the cottage. Okay, so that is why this line says, a sudden thought of one so pale. So here one is the narrator who is speaking here. So pale, pale means the colorless, for love of her. So this narrator is being pale for the love of her, and that is why by this thought only she has come here. And all in vain. So why this all her efforts are in vain? Why? Because the society is not able to accept them, and eventually she will leave him. So she was come through wind and rain. So you can understand her efforts that she has come here through wind and rain. Be sure I looked up at her eyes, happy and proud. At last I knew Porphyria worshipped me. But when he looked at her eyes, who were very happy, her eyes were very happy and proud, he got to know that Porphyria worshipped me. Porphyria worshipped me means that she has a lot of love for him, and by this surprise made my heart swell and still it grew. And this surprised him a lot, and his heart swell and it grew continuously while I debated what to do. So when he saw a lot of love in the eyes of Porphyria, he did not know what to do, and he started asking his own self and started debating about what to be done. That moment she was mine fair, perfectly pure and good. So at that moment, however, the people were not acceptable towards them, but at that very moment she was his. She was sitting with him, and they both were in the moment which they were living together, and perfectly pure and good. So it was perfectly pure and good. I found a thing to do, and suddenly he found something to do. Now the twist starts from here, so notice. And all her hair in one long yellow string I wound 3 times her little throat around. So by this line you have to understand the action, that he took her yellow hair and rolled it 3 times around her throat and strangled her. No pain felt she, I am quite sure she felt no pain. So by this act, or in this stanza, you have to understand that he tied her hair around her neck and he strangled her, and he is sure, or maybe he is justifying his action, that she felt no pain. As a shut bud that holds a bee, I verily opened her lids. So the way a flower bud holds a bee, similarly he is opening her eyelids, which are the girl is dead now, and he is opening her eyes or eyelids. Again laughed the blue eyes without a stain. So here he is saying that he saw the eyes of Porphyria and he thought that they are again laughing without any stain. And I untightened next the tress about her neck. So now he loosened the grip of the hair and untied it. Her cheek once more blushed bright beneath my burning kiss. So he kissed her cheek and it blushed again. So now at this moment we as readers start to disbelieving the narrator and whatever story he is telling us, because he is a killer. He killed his own lover and he will not take up the responsibility of killing her. Rather, he will mention that he killed her and it was her own will. So let us see what he says further. I propped her head up as before. So he again propped her head. So he set her head on his shoulder this time. Only this time my shoulder bore her head, which droops upon it still. So now he is carrying her head on his shoulder, the smiling rosy little head. Now this is a little scary line, that the girl is dead now and he is describing that the head is smiling and it is looking like rosy little head, so glad it has its utmost will. So by this line we are not sure, but he is mentioning that the head of the girl is smiling and it is looking very glad because it has its utmost will. So whatever wish it had, now it is fulfilled. That is why the, he is describing the smiley rosy little head. All it scorned at once is fled. So whatever this girl or the head used to scorn earlier when she was alive, whatever problems she was going through in life, all are fled now. And I, its love, am gained instead. So all the life worries are gone and her love is gained, okay, in the replacement. Porphyria'S love. She guessed not how her darling one wish would be heard. So he is saying that she had no idea. Okay, by this line you can understand that when she said that she wanted to be with him forever, she did not mean this which he has, what he has done with her. She did not mean this. So by this line you can understand, her darling, she guessed not how her darling one wish would be heard. So she had no idea that how this wish would be heard or how this wish of her would be fulfilled by the lover. And thus we sit together now. And it is very important that now he is sitting with the Porphyria'S body and he is going to spend whole night sitting like this. And it is a little scary, but if you see symbolically, now they are free from the societal restraints and they do not have to worry anything. They can spend as long as they want. So that is another thing, like if you want to take it symbolically. So, and thus we sit together now, and all night long we have not stirred. So they have sat like that throughout the night. They have not moved. And yet God has not said a word. The last line is very confusing, that suddenly how he is talking about God. So you can understand by this that he is justifying his own action, the act of killing the lover Porphyria. He is justifying his own action, that now he could not bear that Porphyria would leave him again. Okay, so he killed her in order to stay with her forever. One point. Second, he is justifying his act by saying that God, even God has not said anything upon this act of mine. Okay, so with this we have come to the end of this poem. Thank you so much. If you have any doubt, if you are going through any confusion regarding this poem, you can write me in the comment section, and you can also follow me on Telegram. I have added the link in the description, and the details are on your screen. Thank you so much.